when tiredness exposes who you really are. There is a moment when effort runs out and identity is revealed. It usually arrives quietly. Late evening. Heavy eyelids. The room dimmer than it should be. The body already leaning toward rest while the task waits untouched. This is where most people tell themselves a familiar story about mental fatigue. They call it a reason. They call it human. They call it enough. The belief is simple and comfortable: consistency belongs to the motivated, and fatigue grants permission to stop. That belief dissolves the moment pressure appears. You see it in the office when the day stretches longer than planned. You feel it at home when routine collides with exhaustion. The hands hesitate. The breath shortens. The mind begins to negotiate, softly at first. They begin strong. The first weeks are clean and deliberate. Then the mind grows loud. Then the body grows slow. Then the practice fades, not with drama, but with relief. Not because they are weak, but because their discipline was built on feeling, not form. Old warriors understood something different. In Zen halls and training yards, fatigue was never an exception. It was expected. Practice continued with stiff fingers and dry mouths, with shoulders tight and eyes burning. Not because they pushed harder, but because stopping felt stranger than continuing. Identity had already decided. Mental fatigue is not the enemy. It is the test that asks who you are when comfort withdraws. The answer is already forming in your daily patterns. Before continuing, name the habit you abandoned first when you are tired. Write it once. No explanation. The quiet collapse happens without failure. Mental fatigue does not announce itself. It settles into the body while you pretend nothing has changed. The screen blurs slightly. The jaw tightens. Fingers hover above the keyboard longer than usual. Someone nearby laughs, already finished with their work, and you feel the small social pull to stop pretending you are still sharp. You straighten your back anyway, not from strength, but from habit, and that difference matters more than you think. Most collapses do not happen when things are hard. They happen when they are merely dull. The task is familiar. The movement is known. The room is warm. Your shoulders sag and the breath grows shallow. You tell yourself you will return later, and the body accepts the lie with relief. No one challenges you. No one needs to know. That is why the break feels clean, almost justified, and why it cuts so deep. A man who trains after work moves slower than he did in the morning. His legs carry a dull ache. Sweat comes faster. A friend passing by shakes his head and jokes about obsession. The man does not answer. He ties his belt the same way. The knot presses into his stomach. The floor is cold under his feet. Fatigue stays, but choice disappears, and that is the friction most people never build. Mental fatigue exposes the hidden structure underneath your discipline. If consistency depends on clarity, it dissolves when the mind is fogged. If it depends on energy, it vanishes when the body is drained. But when action is pre-decided, fatigue becomes background noise. The hands move before the argument finishes forming. Breath settles because it has done this before. Others watch, unsettled by the predictability. You can see it in small places. The monk bows with heavy eyelids, slower but exact. The writer opens the notebook and writes one sentence, then stops. The runner shortens the route without changing the hour. Each action looks unimpressive. Each one keeps the chain intact. People around them mistake this for stubbornness. They do not see the relief of not having to decide. The dangerous moment comes later, when fatigue stacks across days. When the body remembers exhaustion before the alarm rings. When social permission to rest becomes loud. This is where identity either holds or fractures. Not with drama, but with a single skipped action that feels harmless. The body notices. It always does. And it waits to see what you will allow next. Negotiation begins when the body feels heavy. Fatigue does not argue loudly. It whispers. You feel it when you sit down and the chair seems deeper than before. When your neck stiffens and the breath rises higher in the chest. Someone sends a message asking if you are done for the day. The invitation is casual. The pressure is not. You glance at the clock and feel the pull to agree, to align with the softness of the moment. This is where most people believe the battle is mental. They think it is about pushing through tiredness. But the real conflict has already moved into the body. The shoulders drop. The spine curves. The eyes avoid the work. The body is not rebelling. It is asking what kind of person you are when no one is watching closely. A swordsman practices late, arms trembling slightly as he lifts the blade. The weight feels heavier than it did yesterday. His grip tightens out of habit, not resolve. A younger student pauses to watch, then looks away, uncomfortable with the silence. There is no speech about perseverance. Only repetition. Only the blade rising again, slower, exact, unchanged. Negotiation appears when action is not fixed. The mind begins offering small compromises. Shorten the session. Skip the difficult part. Start again tomorrow with more energy. Each thought feels reasonable. Each one shifts the standard slightly lower. The body registers the shift as relief, and relief is addictive. That is how fatigue teaches people to bargain against themselves. Those who remain consistent do not win this argument. They avoid it. The time is fixed. The action is known. When the alarm sounds, the body moves before the mind assembles excuses. Knees fold onto the mat. Shoes are laced. The pen touches the page. The sensation of tiredness stays present, but it no longer controls the sequence. That predictability unsettles others, especially those who rely on feeling to decide. Social friction increases here. Friends comment on rigidity. Colleagues joke about obsession. You feel the dryness in your mouth when you choose not to explain. The explanation would weaken the structure. So you act instead. One movement. One repetition. Enough to confirm identity without chasing performance. The risk comes when fatigue repeats and nothing dramatic happens. No failure. No confrontation. Just quiet erosion if you allow it. Consistency under mental fatigue is not proven by intensity. It is proven by refusal to renegotiate the smallest agreement you made with yourself. The body remembers those refusals. It also remembers when you don't. Structure holds when energy disappears. By the fourth day of carrying fatigue, the body stops complaining loudly. It goes quiet instead. Heavy eyelids lift without urgency. The breath feels shallow even while standing. You notice it when you pour water and your hand shakes slightly, just enough for someone nearby to glance over. They ask if you are tired. You nod once. The answer changes nothing. This is where structure either proves real or reveals itself as decoration. When energy disappears, only what is already built remains. A man steps into the training room after a long shift. His shoulders are tight. The air feels stale. Others have already left. He bows out of habit, not respect, and the bow steadies his breath. The ritual is small, but it anchors the body before the mind can interfere. Most people try to solve fatigue by adjusting effort. They search for tricks, music, stimulants, reassurance. The warrior adjusts sequence instead. The order of actions is preserved even when the quality drops. The blade is lifted slower. The stance is less sharp. The duration shortens. None of that matters. What matters is that the order remains untouched. That order tells the body what kind of life this is. You feel the pressure when someone suggests skipping just this once. It sounds reasonable. Your legs ache. Your mouth is dry. The social invitation is warm. Declining creates distance. You feel it immediately in the room. Silence stretches. Someone shrugs. You move anyway. Knees bend. Hands settle. Breath deepens not from rest, but from familiarity. The discomfort shifts from physical to social, and that is the exchange few are willing to make. Fatigue loses power when it no longer triggers decision. The body learns that tiredness changes intensity, not identity. A monk sits shorter when fevered. A writer writes a single line with burning eyes. A worker completes the smallest unit of his craft before leaving the desk. These actions look insignificant from the outside. Inside, they reinforce a rule that cannot be argued with. The danger is subtle. When structure bends too often, it teaches the body that rules are optional. The next time fatigue appears, it arrives with memory. The body remembers how easily the sequence was broken. It offers that memory as permission. This is why consistency under fatigue is not heroic. It is preventative. It protects tomorrow's actions from today's comfort. You can feel this truth when you finish while still tired. The relief is different. It is quiet. It does not energize you. It steadies you. The body recognizes continuity and relaxes into it, even as exhaustion remains. That recognition is fragile. It is rebuilt or erased each time fatigue shows up uninvited. Continuity is chosen before fatigue arrives. Mental fatigue feels convincing because it arrives with history. The body remembers the last long day, the last late night, the last time rest felt deserved. You feel it when you wake and your limbs move slower than thought. The room is quiet. The floor is cold. You sit on the edge of the bed longer than usual, letting the weight settle. No crisis. Just heaviness waiting to be interpreted. This is where consistency is usually decided, long before action begins. A runner places shoes beside the door the night before. In the morning, fingers slide into worn fabric without discussion. The breath is thick. The legs are dull. A neighbor sees him leave and raises an eyebrow, already back inside where it is warm. The run is shorter. The pace is slower. The hour remains unchanged, and the body notes the difference. Fatigue gains leverage when the response is improvised. When the mind must decide while tired, it chooses comfort with surprising logic. That is why continuity is built in advance. Not as motivation, but as a closed path. When rain falls, training moves indoors. When exhaustion appears, intensity drops, not presence. When schedule breaks, the next available slot is taken without emotion. These are not strategies. They are rehearsed refusals to negotiate. You feel the effect socially. Others expect variability. They expect mood. When you arrive anyway, quieter than usual, less sharp, they grow uncertain. Someone jokes about dedication. Another stops inviting you out during certain hours. The friction is subtle but persistent. You feel it in the chest when you choose the familiar action instead of the familiar excuse. The body tightens, then loosens as the sequence continues. Consistency under fatigue does not look impressive. It looks reduced. A monk bows slower. A craftsman cleans his tools with tired hands. A worker completes the minimum unit and leaves without celebration. Each action sends a message inward. Tiredness does not redefine the day. Over time, the body stops asking for permission. It expects continuity the way it expects gravity. The risk appears when continuity is broken without consequence. One skipped session feels harmless. Two feel justified. The third feels normal. Fatigue then becomes an authority, not a condition. The body learns a new rule, and it enforces it automatically. Rebuilding after that requires friction, and friction always costs more than maintenance. You can sense when continuity is intact. Even on exhausted days, there is less inner noise. The action feels smaller but cleaner. The body moves with resignation, not resistance. That resignation is not defeat. It is acceptance of identity. This is what protects consistency when energy fails. Not effort. Not inspiration. Only a pre-decided line the body does not cross, even when it would be easier to step back. Fatigue tests the agreement you made alone. By now, tiredness no longer feels temporary. It has weight. It settles behind the eyes and pulls the face downward. You notice it when your reflection looks older than expected. Someone comments that you seem quiet lately. You nod. The observation lands, but it does not change the order of the day. That order was decided when you still had clarity. This is where consistency stops being private and starts creating pressure. When you keep moving under fatigue, others notice the pattern before they understand it. A colleague watches you arrive at the same time, slower, less talkative, but still exact. They hesitate before asking for favors, unsure whether you will bend. That hesitation is not respect. It is uncertainty. And uncertainty changes how people treat you. The body feels every repetition. Muscles respond with dull resistance. The mouth dries. The breath feels thick when you begin. A craftsman wipes his hands and returns to the bench even though the day has already drained him. The tool feels heavier. His movements are economical, stripped of excess. Someone nearby sighs loudly, already finished, already done for the day. The contrast sits in the room without words. Fatigue is not dangerous on its own. What matters is whether it renegotiates your standards. When consistency depends on how you feel, fatigue becomes a judge. When consistency depends on an agreement you made alone, fatigue becomes irrelevant. The body learns this difference slowly. It tests you by offering relief. Each time you refuse to lower the line, the body adjusts its expectations. There is a quiet moment that marks the shift. You begin an action while already tired, and there is no internal debate. No build-up. No resistance. Just movement. Shoes tied. Mat unfolded. Work opened. The sensation of exhaustion remains, but it no longer asks permission. That silence is not comfort. It is compliance. Others often misread this. They think you are forcing yourself. They think you are rigid. You feel the social distance widen slightly. Invitations thin. Jokes sharpen. You sense it in the chest when you decline again, calmly, without defense. The cost is real. The reward is not praise. It is stability. The risk returns when fatigue overlaps with disruption. Travel. Illness. Schedule collapse. This is when old agreements are tested hardest. The body searches memory. It asks whether consistency survived discomfort before. If the answer is yes, it moves. If the answer is uncertain, hesitation returns quickly. Identity either responds automatically or dissolves under pressure. Consistency under mental fatigue is not sustained by strength. It is sustained by memory. The body remembers what you do when no one is watching and no energy is available. That memory becomes instruction. Each tired day either reinforces it or rewrites it quietly. The question is not whether fatigue will come again. It is what the body will already know to do when it does. The body learns faster than the mind. By the sixth repetition under fatigue, something subtle shifts. The tiredness is still there. Heavy eyelids. A faint pressure behind the eyes. Muscles slow to respond. But the body no longer treats these sensations as signals. They become weather. Present, unavoidable, and irrelevant to movement. You notice it when your hands reach for the same tools without hesitation. The grip is automatic. The motion economical. Someone nearby watches for a moment, then looks away, unsure what to make of the calm persistence. There is no visible struggle to comment on. No drama to interrupt. That absence unsettles people more than effort ever did. The mind is usually late to this change. It still offers commentary. It still points out how tired you are, how long the day has been. But the body has already moved. Knees bend. The mat touches the floor. The page opens. The first action is done before the argument finishes forming. You feel a brief tightening in the chest as the mind realizes it has been bypassed. Then it quiets. This is how consistency survives mental fatigue. Not by overpowering the mind, but by outrunning it. Repetition trains the body to respond faster than thought. A monk bows even when fevered, the bow shorter but exact. A worker completes the opening task before checking messages. A runner steps outside before the house fully wakes. Each action is small. Each one reinforces speed over debate. Social consequences sharpen here. People expect explanation when you look tired. They expect justification when you still show up. You feel the dryness in your mouth when you choose silence instead. Explaining would invite negotiation. So you let the action speak and accept the discomfort that follows. The room shifts slightly. Conversations adjust. You are still included, but differently. Fatigue tests this adaptation repeatedly. Some days the body hesitates again. Travel disrupts rhythm. Sleep thins. Illness dulls coordination. These are not failures. They are checks. The body asks whether the sequence still holds when conditions change. If you preserve order, even reduced, the body reaffirms the rule. If you abandon it, the body records that too. There is a moment after finishing while exhausted that feels unlike relief. The pulse steadies. The shoulders drop without collapse. The breath deepens slightly. The body recognizes that the agreement was kept. That recognition is quiet, but it lingers longer than rest ever did. It becomes expectation. Over time, mental fatigue loses its leverage because it no longer introduces uncertainty. The body knows what comes next regardless of state. That knowing reduces friction before it appears. You still get tired. You still feel slow. But you no longer ask what to do about it. The action is already underway. This is the edge where consistency stops being effortful and starts being reflex. It is fragile if neglected. It strengthens if repeated. The body does not care about your intentions. It learns only from what happens when you are tired and no one is pushing you. That lesson is being written every time fatigue arrives and you move anyway. Fatigue reveals whether identity is fixed. At this point, tiredness stops feeling like a phase and starts feeling like a condition. The body carries it from morning to night. The eyes sting in bright rooms. The neck resists turning. You notice it when you stand up too quickly and the world tilts for a second longer than it should. Someone asks how you're holding up. The question is casual. The implication is permission. This is where identity either locks or loosens. When fatigue is constant, there is no energetic version of you to return to. There is only the person who acts while depleted. A man steps into his routine with a slower gait. His breathing is audible. Each movement costs more than it used to. A coworker watches him start anyway and shakes their head, not impressed, not dismissive, just confused. Confusion is often the first social response to consistency under strain. The body feels the cost immediately. Muscles warm slower. Coordination dulls. The mind offers commentary again, reminding you how long this has been going on. But the sequence does not change. The same first action happens. Then the second. By the third, the body has settled into the work. Fatigue remains, but it has lost its authority to interrupt. This is the quiet difference between routine and identity. Routine depends on conditions. Identity persists across them. A monk bows even when distracted, the bow less graceful but intact. A craftsman sharpens his tools with stiff fingers. A worker completes the opening task before allowing himself to sit back. None of this feels heroic. That is the point. Heroics fade quickly. Identity endures quietly. Others begin adjusting around you. They stop suggesting breaks at certain times. They lower expectations of flexibility. Some pull away slightly, unsure how to relate to someone who does not mirror their fluctuations. You feel this shift in small pauses, in invitations that arrive later or not at all. The cost is subtle but cumulative. It tests whether consistency is worth social ease. Fatigue sharpens this test because it strips away performance. You are not impressive when tired. You are slower, quieter, less expressive. All that remains is reliability. The body notices when reliability holds without applause. It registers a deeper kind of safety. Not comfort, but predictability. That predictability reduces internal friction on future days, even before fatigue appears. The danger now is pride disguised as resilience. Pushing beyond form. Ignoring limits. Breaking structure to prove something. That path leads to collapse. True consistency under fatigue adjusts scale, not sequence. Shorter sessions. Reduced output. Same entry point. Same exit. The body learns that limits are respected without abandoning order. When you finish while still exhausted, there is no rush of satisfaction. There is a flat steadiness. The pulse slows. The shoulders drop just enough. The body records another confirmation: this is who you are even now. That record is what fatigue cannot erase unless you allow it to. The final test is simple and relentless. When fatigue becomes normal, do you still move without renegotiation, or do you slowly rewrite the agreement to match your comfort? The body is already collecting evidence. It will decide long before the mind offers an opinion, when fatigue no longer changes who you are. Mental fatigue never leaves for good. It returns in waves, sometimes light, sometimes heavy, sometimes woven so tightly into the day that you forget what clarity feels like. The disciplined person does not wait for it to pass. He no longer organizes his life around the hope of better conditions. He moves inside fatigue the way others move only when rested. Discipline, at this level, is no longer something you practice. It is something you are recognized by. The body rises when it is time. The hands perform the opening action without ceremony. The breath steadies because it has done this before. Fatigue remains present, but it no longer votes. The argument has already ended. This is why the unshakable person is not the strongest or the most energetic. He is the one who stopped renegotiating with himself when tired. He learned that identity must function on bad days, ordinary days, and empty days, or it collapses the moment comfort disappears. What you do when exhausted becomes the clearest signature of who you are. Others will never fully understand this. Some will drift away. Some will test your flexibility. Some will quietly adjust their expectations around you. None of that matters. The discipline you carry is not for display. It is for continuity. It protects your future self from the erosion of small permissions granted in moments of weakness. Mental fatigue will return tomorrow. It will arrive again next week. It will revisit you at inconvenient times for the rest of your life. The question is already settled if your identity is settled. Comment your public commitment below. One sentence only. No explanation.